Try this here. Okay, it's Earl here. I just got another freaking call from another jerk off talking about medical compensation. Fuck you, bitch. It's a lie, okay? It's a lie. It's not compensation. It's a scam so you can get your address and send it out to the other telemarketers so they can bug the fuck out of you some more. Don't call this number no more, bitches. Okay, I'm gonna go inside the Barnes & Noble and check out the cool vinyl they got here up here. I was here before. I got some of my video, but I didn't post it because I wanted to do this more professional. Alright? Let's go in and have fun. Oh, it's right here. I just walked in. I got my earbuds here. I was listening to an album called Cathodon by Setharoth. Instrumental project by Ulla Soderberg from Sweden. Great album here. Okay, let's see what we got here, folks. The vinyl section. See this. We know this one. My sister had this album here. Undoubtedly a classic. One of the three main albums of 1980 you had to have. The other two being Heaven and Hell by Black Sabbath, and of course The Wall by Pink Floyd. This is of course the reissue here. Columbia Records picked it up. Of course AC/DC may not be no more, we don't know. Cliff Williams has retired. Drummer Phil Rudd is may not be coming back. Now, my friend Joey, who lives in the Lincoln Park area, he was a fan of this. I got to show him this. This is for you, Joey, my brother. Adam and the Ants, Kings of the Wild Frontier. It's on the Legacy label. New Romantic at its best. That's what the scene was called back then. 2 drummers, 1 singer, 1 guitarist, and 1 bass player. Holy cow, we had this album, the original, at our place, at our own home, The Best of the Animals. The problem is, it doesn't have the original back cover, or it doesn't have the original gatefold. And it's, sadly. See what we got here. Let's see, Allman Brothers. Not into the Allman Brothers. Here we go. No doubt one of the greatest summer albums of all time. Sgt. Pepper. I remember hearing this album for the first time on a 4-track cartridge. Yes, 4-track. Which is basically something like an 8-track, but instead of 4 programs, it's 2. I just loved it. I loved hearing this album, and I loved the hell out of it. The Beatles compilation 1. Oh yeah. The Red album, which was from 62 to 66, or earlier stuff before they got all psychedelic. And of course, this is after they got all psychedelic. A lot more interesting. 67, 70, the Blue Album, as they often called it. Beatles for Sale. The White Album, one of the greatest diverse albums of all time, people. Simply diverse. We have metal, folk, country, something like 1920s material on here, all on this album. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, we got this in mono. This is a German pressing, for what I know, understand. Pretty interesting. We know this one as well. I remember getting this for Christmas. Abbey Road, their last ever studio album. One of their best, folks. One of their best. You cannot go wrong with these guys. And oh yeah, I have this the one downloaded. I have all the ones I mentioned downloaded on my MP3s. Now I wonder if it still has the booklet that came on the original. It'll be interesting. And this is in mono too. Huh. Oh, we got the stereo here, right here, and right here. You cannot go wrong with these guys. Like I said before. Ah. The Sabs. The second classic album of all time, Paranoid. This is a double album, and I guess it's extended. What they did is they put all 8 tracks on two sides, two vinyls, I meant to say. And I guess what it is that either it's on a 45 speed or a 33 speed. It'll be interesting. Oh, what we got here? This is interesting. They have it, the original album, and they got some bonus tracks, instrumentals, different lyrics, an alternative mix. Very interesting. I wonder if they have that for the first album. Oh yeah, we got this is one of the best albums for me, one of my lyrically and musically. This is the one where they started their detuning of their instruments. Master of Reality. It's a record that helped spawn the grunge scene of the 1990s. No question about that. Bowie, Hunky Dory, Ziggy Stardust. We know this album like the back of our hand. Definitely, no doubt. One of the times I've been to Numbers downtown Houston, they had what he calls the Bowie birthday celebration. He would have been 70 this year. It was Bowie from start to finish, and yes, it was packed. This is something new. It's supposed to be the album. Oops. It's supposed to be the album Heroes, but it's called The Next Day. And I guess what they did is that somebody screwed up or somewhere. Here. It's supposed to have been called The Next Day, but I guess they put inside the cover sleeves of the Heroes album here. Talk about a mess up. Oh, by the way, and here's the original cover for The Man Who Sold the World. The thin white duke wearing a dress with the hair longer than me. Very interesting. Gotta give props to this gentleman here. His name is Charles Bradley. The album's called Changes. And get this, it says right here, featuring the critically acclaimed rendition of Black Sabbath's Changes. I've heard it, and it is mesmerizing, folks. Very mesmerizing. I'm going here. I found this, 2112 by Rush. An album that foretold the PMRC years before. Temples control everything from entertainment to literature and such, which is what the PMRC wanted back then. Mostly in music, of course, but you get the idea. I had this one on the original vinyl. Sadly, and it does have the thing that pop out. It does. Curtis Mayfield's Superfly. And there's Ron O'Neal, the actor in that movie. It was directed by Gordon Parks Jr. Gordon Parks Jr. being, of course, the son of Gordon Parks, the man who directed the first Shaft movie. Sadly, Gordon, from what I heard, died in some sort of a plane crash prior to this movie opening in theaters. It was about a drug dealer named Priest who wanted to get out of the drug dealing game, but he just wanted to do one last deal before he did. Now, it was supposed to glorify drug use, according to such, but the music told a whole different story. Ah, yeah, the mighty Met. Ride the Lightning. I remember hearing Fade to Black on radio, Detroit radio, years back, and I was like, wow, this is interesting. Yeah, it's supposed to be a ballad, but it's not the typical love ballad. This was a ballad about wanting to end your life. And I guess they got a lot of flack for that song, but still, there were a lot of people who felt like that. Folks, it's best to write it out and not do it. Don't commit suicide, people. Hang on. I remember hearing this album all over on the station called WPHS in Warren, Michigan. It was a high school station. They played Metal Militia, Four Horsemen, Whiplash, classic. The Floyd, Adam Hart, Mother, Momentary Lapse of Reason. Pretty good album. I remember buying the cassette in '87 when it came out. A lot of tracks still mesmerizing. The production, the songwriting, the way the songs are arranged. Great album with these guys. The first of two without Roger Waters. Saucerful of Secrets. Great album here. Metal with One of These Days and the classic echoes. Oh, by the way, if you open the gatefold on its side, you can tell this is a human ear collecting waves of sound underwater. By the way, I always wanted to know what that was myself. Animals, classic album here as well. The final cut, not exactly the one of the best. Too depressing to listen to, actually. Oh wow, here's something interesting. The More soundtrack. It was a movie to a 68 French movie called More. I guess it came out in Europe on the Columbia label. It's the original Columbia logo there. And I noticed the way they arranged it, it's like to look like an import. Very interesting. Another great album here. Have that downloaded. Let's see what we got here. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Gotta give this album props. Amagama. Side 1 and 2, which is live. Sides 3 and 4, all experimental pieces of music featuring each member of the group. And I have here the original Gigi cover. It had the cover of the Gigi musical soundtrack, which had to be edited out for the US because of course, copyright reasons. And we have this. It's a soundtrack to a movie called The Valley, another French film, obscured by clouds. Second Pink Floyd album I picked up. The first being, of course, The Wall. Check hear this. This is the first Crow soundtrack, and they've changed the cover, I can see. Has all the good stuff there that we remember hearing at the clubs. Actually, this is the actual score. Believe it or not, it is, because it is the score. Music and composed by Graham Revell from SPK, an industrial group out of, I guess, either Australia or England. Lusmore's Brian Williams was involved with that project for a while. The soundtrack to the first Captain America movie. Interesting, very interesting. Holy crap. I had this on the original ABC Dunham vinyl. Easy Rider. There it is. The original cover, the original back cover, and it's on Geffen Records. Thank you, Geffen, for putting this out. I bought it because If 6 Was 9 by Hendrix was on it. And here's something else. The Weight by the band. Now here's what it says here. The Weight is performed in the motion picture by the band and is not available for this album. We have taken the liberty to include this song as recorded by Smith on this package. Don't really understand that at all. Great song, by the way. Pretty good album as well. Now this is neat right here. And yes, folks, I am looking forward to seeing episode 8 this December. I guess what it is it has individually members of the cast. We have Ray. We also have Kylo Ren on the front, and in between we'll probably see either Han Solo or and plus Finn. And this is a trip right here. I remember seeing these albums at the original Kmart's back in the day. Disco versions of the Star Wars themes. The Rogue One soundtrack here. Walt Disney Records, of course, since now Walt Disney owns Star Wars. And of course, Michelle, if you're listening, to have this classic. I should probably rebuy it for you sometime. She was big into disco back then. Now here's something else. It says right here, copyright 1977, Barry Gibb and the estate of Robin Gibb, Yvonne Gibb. Yvonne Gibb? Let's see what we got here. Yvonne Gibb. I think it's Yvonne Elliman. I think it is. Maybe she married one of the Bee Gees, I guess. I didn't know about it. We have another one here, different label. And now it's Barry Gibb, the estate of Robin Gibb, and the estate of Maurice Gibb. And it's a different label. The one I just had before was on Capitol, and this one is on Reprise Records. Very interesting, folks. Very interesting stuff you find. One of my favorites from the Zeps. Presence. Awesome album. Awesome cover as well. Let's see what we got here. Oh yeah. We know this album like the back of our hand. And apparently what it was is that it was Page's idea to have the album as it is with no print on the back or front just to see if the music would sell alone. And you know what? He was right. Still regarded as one of the top albums that Zeppelin ever put it out. Next to this, Zeppelin 2, the third album, the first album, and what we got here? A 3-album set from the first album. The original, remastered of course by Page himself, Jimmy Page. Side 3 and 2 and 3, unreleased material from a concert held in Paris the same year. Interesting, very interesting, guys. Thank you, Mr. Page. Oh yeah. We know this album well. Physical Graffiti. I had a neighbor named Mike Kaiser introduced me into this album, their stuff there. I'm so thankful today. It's still sad that they don't have anything by Skinny Puppy or Lustmord or any of the other stuff here. I don't know why. I don't know why. Oh. Blu-ray collection for the Fast and Furious. Check this out, people. My nephew would love this one. Include with it by including this one, Hotel California. The many stories behind this song still remain a mystery, but it helps add to the song's integrity. Plus, the gatefold featuring that one mysterious individual up around this area, I think it is. It's not here, this is the back cover. The gatefold features the members of the band with a lot of guests. And they're that mysterious figure. Rest in peace, Glenn Fry. Royal Oak, Michigan's own. I had this album too. Electric Light Orchestra concept album called Time. Man in the future wanting to go back in time. Very good album here. Should have got more credit than it should have. This last one, and then I'm going to be heading out. Foreigner's Head Games on picture disc. The original Foreigner, keep in mind, not the fake Foreigner we got now. Sorry to say, folks, but I always wondered about that cover. She was a hot little girl back then, but what the heck is she doing? We don't know. Shell, when I get the time, I'm going to buy you this. This was your favorite album. I remember you used to play the second track from this continuously when I wake up in the morning to go to school. Okay, that's it for now, folks. I'm going to head out there and do whatever else comes naturally, all right? Earl, subscribe to my channel, Dr. Earl W. Brown. Rock on.